Hello and welcome to part 12 of my Let's Play series of videos for Dwarf Fortress. I'm Sippy Cup. Hope you're getting a lot out of this and learning a lot about playing the most complicated game ever made. So, where were we? Last time we looked over trade and you saw me get taken to the cleaners for a few paltry goods. I tried to trade some obsidian, it turned out it was just too heavy, and I ended up just trading these guys 3 barrels of raw muscle. It makes me embarrassed, I want people to respect and fear my crafts dwarfsmanship when they come to my neck of the woods. So first thing I'm going to do is make a workshop for crafts, and also make sure somebody has the labor enabled to do stone crafting. I've got a lot of obsidian, and obsidian is a fairly valuable stone, so in theory these crafts should be pretty valuable. So the next time a trade caravan rolls around, I'll have lots of good stuff for them. So what I'm going to do, I was taking a look at my dwarf therapist here, and I saw that in one of the most recent waves of migrants I got another person that's a miner. Now, I don't really need 3 miners, I'm sure it will help dig things out faster, but I can sacrifice this guy. I'm going to disable the labor for the guy that has the lowest mining skill. In fact, I'm going to turn off all of his labors except for stone crafting, which basically means that all he's ever going to do is just permanently make stone crafts. And I'll show you also a way to make work orders at workshops just repeat endlessly instead of having to go and manually choose to make crafts and things. So I'm going to commit those changes. So this guy who was a miner before, Sodal Odum Sodel, is now going to be a dedicated stone crafter. So let's go back to the game. So now you can see that the trade depot is still here. These guys will stay for a while. I think almost, I don't know if it's an entire season or if it's just part of a season, but they hang around for a while, and eventually they'll pack up all their stuff and leave. And the goods that you've traded, that they've given you in trade, they'll remain. They'll stay behind if you guys haven't already hauled them down below. So let's go downstairs. I'm going to, first order of business, I think I'm going to make a big room to house my stockpiles for finished goods and things, and start setting up some workshops in them. I no longer have my irrational fear of cave-ins, since I know that they don't exist in this version in the way that I was thinking. So I'm just going to go ahead and start designating a huge room, and I'll go ahead and pause because this will take just a sec. Okay, this ought to be big enough for now. While my miners are digging this thing out, I won't make you suffer through this, so I'm going to go ahead and pause while this gets done, and then I'm going to set up some more workshops in here. I wanted to unpause for a sec and point out a couple things real quickly. So as you can see, I built a couple more fields to kind of diversify the types of plants that I'm making. So one of them, so my original field, if you recall, was making nothing but plump helmets. Now dwarves like to have a varied diet, both for food and liquor. Liquor's made from plants, so this one is making just plump helmets, this one is making nothing but dimple cups, and then this one I've set to make sweet pods. Now sweet pods are an example of a crop which can only be grown in certain seasons. So you can see I've got sweet pods in spring and I believe summer, but in autumn and winter you can't make sweet pods. So I could either choose a different plant, or I could just let it not produce anything. Anyway, so these guys are still hard at work digging out this huge room, which will be my stockpile and workshops area. So I'm going to go ahead and pause again. So I think I pretty much just want to make booze non-stop. So just as I promised, the way that you make things non-stop without having to go continually designate tasks ad infinitum is to just press R for repeat for when you have a certain task selected. So I had a brew drink selected, I just set it to repeat. Now all of these other brew drink tasks are kind of superfluous, since he's going to be repeating this task until the end of time, or until he runs out of raw materials to make beer, which hopefully won't happen because I've got a lot of fields now. So I'm going to just remove these other unnecessary tasks, and now he's just got one task, it's brew drink, and it's set to repeat. So he'll just continually make drinks unless he runs out of either barrels to put it in, which I've started making the carpenter outside, or the dimple cups and plump helmets and things that he actually makes it out of. So I'm going to pause again while my miners finish tunneling out this big room. Just let it unpause it for a second. I got a message here that the merchants are going to be leaving soon. So you will be warned when they're leaving. If they come and unload their goods, and for whatever reason you haven't gotten around to getting a broker up there and moving your goods, you'll get a little bit of warning before they take off. So you can say, "Oh crap!" Send your goods up there, send your broker up there, and make sure you pawn off your cheap wares for all kinds of good stuff. Alright, pausing again. Okay, I'm getting impatient with these slow workers, so I'm going to go ahead and start building workshops. So what I want to build is a craftsdwarf's workshop, so that the next time the trade caravan rolls around, they will have, I'll have lots of good, valuable stuff that I can trade, and I can get some good, exciting things in return. So, armor, maybe get some trained animals, raw metal bars, and cool things like that I can do something worthwhile with. So I'm going to go ahead and press B for build. I'm going to choose W for workshop, and I'm going to go and make R for craftsdwarf's workshop, and I'll go ahead and just kind of stick in this corner. Now, because we're going to be using this workshop particularly here to make rock crafts, what I want to do is, first thing, I'll just choose some stone to make this workshop out of. They want to have access to stone nearby, so probably the easiest way to do this is just to build a new series of stairs right next to him, so that he can just go down a couple levels and get some stone easily without having to walk all the way up here to the stairs, go down, and grab the obsidian from here. They will typically just use whatever's closest. So I'll go ahead and press D for designate. I'm going to choose some downward stairway here, D, and I'll go ahead and make his own little private stairs for his workshop. So anyway, when my miners get done with that, okay, so they've got my down staircase. This appears to still be a layer of clay, or yeah, so here's clay loam wall. This is not suitable yet, so we'll add an up-down stairway and keep digging until we get some good stone. So resume the game. Hopefully the next layer down will have something good. So I'm going to pause for a second until I find some good stone. I'm going to resume real quick and point out my stocks screen, and again the way that you get there is just by pressing Z for status. This is the sort of top level status screen. So I can see that I finally got some drinks. This is great. If your dwarves don't have access to alcohol, they will take breaks and sleep a lot more frequently. So in order for them to be really efficient, it's important for them to have alcohol. So now that I've got that still producing alcohol 24/7, hopefully this number will just keep getting bigger and bigger. Another thing too, if you notice, you have this question mark here. This is basically saying that you don't have an exact idea of how much of all this stuff you have. The way to improve the accuracy is to have a bookkeeper noble assigned. A bookkeeper noble has a requirement that they need an office, and I'll show you how to do that either later in this video or in an upcoming video, but just know that this kind of makes sense. You don't have anybody who's really keeping track, so your dwarves just kind of have a general idea. Well, we have 90, we have somewhere in the area of 90 plants, and we've got about 50 drinks, about 30 other stuff. But you'll have a bookkeeper who's kind of like a clerk, who's just going to be your dedicated guy that will count all your stuff and keep an accurate inventory. And then these numbers will not be so uncertain. You'll know exactly, I have 63 seeds, I have 54 drinks, etc. So let me pause and see how that stairway is going. Okay, so that staircase that I made very close to my Dwarf's workshop right here. I've gone down 2 levels and I've finally found somewhere where there's some good stuff. So there's some hematite and some native copper and some more obsidian and things down here. So this will be kind of a little, I guess, storeroom, sort of a little makeshift storeroom that hopefully the Dwarf will pull from. And real quick, pause the game. I got this message here. Woodburner, well, the guy who I set as the brewer, it says he cancels brew drink. He needs an empty barrel. Well, I need to go back up to my carpenter here and have him make more barrels. So the way you do that is just add task, and then the hotkey is V for victory. Barrels for victory. So I'm not going to set it to repeat because I don't want him to go too crazy with this. Although it might be a decent idea since now I have brewing on repeat. So, well, why not? I'll just go ahead and put it on repeat. I can always add more carpenter's workshops later. I only want the one task on repeat, just to make it nice and pretty. There, so good. Make wooden barrel on repeat. Okay, so let me pause for a second. I'll get back to where. Alright, so my miners are down a couple levels digging out that room that this staircase leads to, but what I want to do is go ahead and get somebody to start making some crafts. So the first thing I'll do is actually go here to the Dwarf's workshop, use my Q key, add new task, and I want to make crafts out of rock. It's the most abundant material, they have good value. So I've got right here rock. I'm going to press G and then C for make rock crafts. And you can also make mugs and toys and instruments and all kinds of things, but I usually just make rock crafts. It's a pretty varied type of thing. You know, there could be scepters and crowns and all kinds of different things. Anyway, so I'm actually going to set this on repeat because I want to make a ton of these, and I want them to have somewhere to go that is finished goods stockpile. So I'm going to press P for stockpile, and I'm going to press G for finished goods, and I'll put a finished goods stockpile right here next to my Dwarf's workshop. So now the guy that I set as my dedicated crafter should eventually come down here and start churning out some crafts. Now, one thing I should point out, oh yeah, here he is. So the guy, remember, he was a miner, that's why he looks like a miner. He's now a dedicated Dwarf. So he's going to start making things out of rock and putting them in this finished goods stockpile here. If you want to stay really organized, it's a really good idea to make bins. What is a bin? Well, a bin is to pretty much everything else as a barrel is to food and drinks. Food and drinks don't stack in stockpiles unless they are in a barrel. So if you had, say, 5 plump helmet mushrooms and you had them go to your stockpile and you didn't have any barrels, it would take up 5 spaces. Well, barrels basically just let you consolidate it into a single space here. So same deal with bins. They're produced at a carpenter workshop, so if I go back up here, I go to my carpenter's workshop and I press Q. I could take, wooden barrel off of repeat and then add bins. The hotkey is N for bin, as in Nicaragua. So there's a construct wooden bin. I'll go ahead and make a bunch of these bins because it will make storing items more efficient.